Okay, so next morning, the night, before, the day before the night that Lava and Tom literally put a little sprinkle of memories into Wave's head. But you think it will remember everything? No, not quite. I think everyone was like, no, we're in episode 3, it's too fast. In episode 1, Lava looked at Wave saying about, oh, the bed cannot hold the two of them. Could have fooled me because they held on great. So anyway, Wave got up and noticed that he has a watch on his hand, then looked at Lava and asked Lava where the watch came from. Lava then looked at, well, not looked, but he was still sleepy, tells Wave that it belongs to Wave. Wave said he doesn't remember that, and he thought Lava said he didn't come with anything. Lava said he lied because he thought that what did he thought? He thought that if he never told him, he wouldn't notice and he could have just pawned off the watch, but he didn't pawn it off. What Wave was upset about it because, dude, you held this crucial information and didn't even tell me. Okay, so while Wave was taking a shower, Lava got up saying he wants to pee real bad. When he got into the bathroom, because Wave had to open the door, he was not shy to go. Even his butt crack was showing, and I ain't gonna lie, me along with Wave were sneakingly looking at it. After Lava's pee break, he turned around and teased Wave about how Wave got a nice body and he has a nice body, and Wave was like, hey, don't sexually harass me. And Lava is like, dude, you started it first. You were looking at my butt. I was like, how did you know that he was looking at your butt? I know you're sexy, but good God, there was a mirror somewhere I don't even see. Also, I like how they put let us see the interior of the bathroom because I was curious. The cameraman or woman must have gotten extra money to do this because thank you. This is pretty much the closest I've ever seen Winnie and Satang, and I ain't even mad about it. Anyways, there's a part where I don't think it was here, but I'm gonna put it out anyways because I don't want my recap to be long. But there's a part where Lava looked at Wave and said that, dude, you might have amnesia, but do you even know your sexual preference? Do you like women? Do you like men? I mean, come on. You might be amnesia. You might don't have any memory, but you must have something. In my opinion, you might lose your memory, but you have muscle memory, right? Listen to me. You do. I love that Lava is really helping. So he's rolling around town asking if everyone knows Wave, and if they do you know where he belongs to, yada yada yada. But Wave is not from here, so no one knows him. Well, at least no one he knows know them, but it's a long story. I mean, Victor isn't here. It's episode 3 and already we know who the villain is. But anyways, no one say that they knows Wave. At least we all know that's not his real name, but whatever. But they came across a place that Wave says he feels like he knows the place, which he does. He went here, it's the restaurant, but he doesn't remember that. So they went inside and they meet this guy. We already saw him like 3 times. But when Lava asked him if he knows who Wave is, he said no, he doesn't know who he is. So he also let the man take a picture of Wave just in case he can pass it around to other people, which I find very suspicious of this guy. Yeah, I'm not the only one who thinks the guy is suspicious. Even Wave thinks he's suspicious. I'm not sure if Wave even remember that we saw the guy at the secondhand store, but he was there. The question is though, is he evil? Is he working for Victor or is he working for Darren's father? You know, the one that Darren said he has someone in Thailand. Maybe he followed them. But even if so, why not reveal that, dude, I work for your father, I'm here to help you? Why not say that? I know he knows something, but the question is, who is he gonna give the picture to? Victor or the father? Forget the man, let's talk about Wave. He's more suspicious, but well, not anymore, because the time he spends with Lava, he starts to break down some walls, like his bougie wall. Because tell me why he's at a place eating food with a lot of flies. You would think the boy would say, nah, I don't like this place. It's so disgusting, yada yada yada. He's eating with a bunch of flies. At least, I know they're trying to show poverty, but damn. Here's why I say it's poverty, because they're eating at a place, but the place roof got leaks, and the owner says he can't do anything about it. He tries, but he has no money. So the place that they're staying, the island, lacks funds of many things, and even though the tourists are there, it's not much, so they're not making much money. Then you have Peng and Wood. Peng drove Wood to his work because Wood's car is not working. But they're in the car, and Wood really wants people to know that, hey, he's in a relationship with Peng. Peng then says he's still not ready, but Wood says that, if he does a volunteer to do, like, if he goes to election and go into politics and people voted for him because he knows the people here likes him, then he can set some rules, like maybe legalizing same-sex relationship, even probably marriage, so that people here who has problems here don't have to go to Bangkok but can actually live their life the way they want to. Yeah, Peng says maybe you'll think about it, but hey, it's a good idea. Then Peng took Wood's advice and went to register himself for election. Now, when I saw this, I was like, no, Peng, did you really do this because you want to, or did you do this because Peng says it's cool that you do it? I just wish that he could have done it on his own term, not because he was told that it looks cool or you'll do this. Or I just feel like he didn't do it on his own. I just feel like he did it because Wood said so. Okay, so we're at Lava and Wave. They're at the pawn shop trying to pawn the watch. So they're there, but Wave doesn't even want to pawn it, but he insists because, hey, Lava said they need money. So anyways, Lava looked at the owner and said, how much you giving us for that watch? The owner looked at Lava and is like, I'm giving it for 50K. Lava's like, bullshit. I looked this up and it was more than that. It was 100K. Then the man looked at Lava and Wave and is like, the watch is broken. It has water and sands in it. And when I heard it, I was like, you can clean that up and look it up good and make it look like it's brand new and sell it off for way more. Lava said, no, I don't want it for 50K because I know it's worth more than that. Then the man looked at Lava and was like, okay, I'm going to give it to 60K. Lava took that watch and was like, nah, I'll get my own deal somewhere else. So they ended up not selling the watch, which is good. Maybe it could help them in the long run. Anyways, they went back home to relax, and then Wave saw that Lava is drawing. Turns out Lava is really good at drawing. He said he used to be an architecture student, something that goes to like landscaping or whatever. Then he saw the drawing. Lava said that he's planning to open up his own business, maybe put his uncle business on the map as well by renovating everything that he does. I understand. I don't know why people looked at Lava, because he had like this tough don't touch me, don't come close to me look, but he's actually a softie. Then came Kretai. Kretai came to check on Wave as instructed by Dr. Wood, letting him know what to do next and he should go at the hospital for a prescription, yada the third. And then I feel like Kretai was trying to flirt with Lava because Lava gave that intention to do so. Anyways, Wave grew the feeling of jealousy, but he doesn't know what he's feeling is jealousy, so he walked off and went into the room and started cleaning up, and then he saw Lava's underwear. Omar is about to smell the underwear until Lava walked in and it's like, what do you think you're doing? And he's like, I was just picking up clothes. And Lava's like, were you gonna sniff my underwear? And he's like, don't be delusional. I wasn't gonna do such degrading things. Let me tell you, Lava is a good person at heart. It's just that you haven't sit down with him to get to know the real Lava. Because tell me why Lava took Wave, Kretai, and Tom to the man's restaurant. It's not really a restaurant, but it's a little gig place to fix it up to make it look good so that when tourists come, they can have a nice meal. So everyone was doing their fair parts except for Wave. Wave doesn't know what he should do because, yeah, he doesn't know how to use any of the things. Lava said, just pick up anything. You have crate painting. Tom is doing saw. Do something else. One boy decided to go for the nail gun. I was like, put it down, sir. You don't know nothing about nothing. But in the end of the day, he did something, so it's better than nothing, so whatever. First of all, these two secretly like each other, but is afraid to tell each other. Secondly, Neo with the Anne veins and the way he stood out of this drama, I was like, yes. Now, my question is, I know they were in a relationship, Neo and Mint, but I'm not sure if they're still in a relationship considering they both agreed that they would just work in the drama as a job. So are they really broken up, or will we just look after the drama as like, jinx, we're not broke? Anyways, things was going great until the shop owner's son came demanding for 1,000 baht so he can hang out with his friends. The father said, dude, I don't have that money, but you can try helping the others to repair my shop. The son did not care what the shop looked like, if he should help or not. He just wanted that money. And no matter how his father said, dude, just help me with the shop, he's like, no, I want 1,000. He was willing to grab the money away from his father until Lava saw and stepped in. Homeboy was like, dude, what, mind your business, this is me and my father. And he was about to fight Lava until Tum stepped in. The boy backed off because clearly he's afraid of Tum. And when I saw Neo stepped in, I was like, baby, Mint, you has no idea what you got on you, but trust me, that was sexy. The father ended up giving the son the money and then the son just rode his bike away. Lava said he shouldn't have given the money, but the man said in the end of the day it's his son, which I do agree. In the end of the day, the boy is his son. But looking at it, if you put your foot in the man's shoes, it's either him giving the money or finding out later that his son stole from some innocent people. Look, I get it. It's not right the way he did it. I'm not sure if the father is even fully into the boy's life like that, but at the end of the day, it is his son. There's nothing you can do about it. He has to just learn the hard way, or I know it's poverty in this place, but he has to find something. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. Okay, so the man thanked Lava for helping him and looked at Lava and said, you're a good person and that your father will be proud. I don't think the man knows that Lava's father is dead, but Wave knows. That is why Wave is comforting him like this. This is a scene that I find very interesting. I don't think they were supposed to be talking and vibing like this. I think they were just supposed to ride the bike and just flow with it like a montage. I believe that's what they call it. But I feel like Neo sees that it's boring and started acting and talking about, do you want to race to the location? And then Winnie just picked up and is like, no. I mean, like, I would win, but yeah. But then you have Mint and Satang on the back trying to convince them to, like, no, ride safe. I think that wasn't scripted, or I could be wrong. See, this is how I know Mint didn't get any screen time as much. At least she didn't get any sunbath as much. Homegirl is the only pale person there, and I can organize it from first to 10 to the least. I know Winnie was the one that got the most sun because he's the one that gets the most sunburn, and we can see that. And then you have Satang, and then you have Neo, and dead last is Mint, because look at how Winnie looks like. The man was bathing in that sun, bathing. First of all, that cameraman or camerawoman was cruel. They could at least show us the body of Neo because we know that man got it. Anyways, Tom was a little bit upset and jealous because even though he was there and Kretai wants someone to rub the sunscreen on her, he wanted her to ask him. Instead, she asked Lava, which Lava did though, but still, the boy wanted you to ask. It was obvious that the boy liked you. So after Tum and Kretai left to take a dip into the ocean, then Lava looked at Wave and said, "Can you rub the sunscreen on my back?" Now bear in mind, before Kretai went into the ocean or the beach or whatever you call it, she asked if Lava wants her to rub some sunscreen on him, and he said no, he can do it himself. Instead, he's asking Wave. Yeah, you don't need rocket science and glasses to see what Lava is doing. So anyways, while Wave is rubbing the sunscreen on Lava's back, Wave started talking about Kretai and how Kretai is nice and cute, and Lava says she's nice for just a friend. And then Wave looked at Lava and is like, "Do you think Tom likes Kretai?" Lava's like, "Obviously, I saw it." Then Lava looked at Wave and said, "Like I said, Kretai is good, but as a friend, and then also, I don't like women, I like men." And trust me, when he said that, he looked at Wave and was like, "Who do you like? Do you like men or women?" And then Wave's like, "I'm not sure." Then Lava is like, "Well, there are many ways of finding how your preference. There are many ways." Wave is like, "What are they?" And then Lava is like, "You'll find out when the time comes." Then they're going home. I do wish that they would show Tom and Kretai coming home with them. But anyways, Lava and Wave are going home, and Lava is definitely trying his luck for Wave to like him, because it is obvious that Lava do like Wave. Anyways, while they were riding, Lava noticed that there's a vehicle behind them, and he's like, "Why don't they just pass them?" Until they did pass, but the person that was driving the car caused them to fall off the bike. Luckily, they didn't get any bruises, but then Lava and Winnie suspect that the person that caused this is the shop owner's son, because it's very obvious that it could be it. Lava tell Waves that if you mess with someone, or if you last talk to someone dangerously and something happened to you, trust me, the last person you spoke to or had an altercation with is most likely the person or the reason you're in this problem. Because back then, when he was in a problem, basically he was walking and this biker was riding and caused a whole woman to fall off, and then Lava took it upon himself and attacked the biker. The biker and he went to the police station, and the father of Lava went to bail him out and sort of everything. That same biker got very upset because he got fired from his job, and again he lost the bike that he had, and he took it upon himself and was about to shoot Lava until Lava's father blocked him and get the shot instead, and he died. So at least we found out how the father died though. Now to our secret couple, Peng and Woot. So Peng is proudly telling Woot that he signed up for election, and all the stuff that he could put to law can actually work for him. He can probably maybe one day probably walk out and say, "Hey, I have a boyfriend and this is my boyfriend," and all that stuff. Now, even though I feel like Peng is just doing this for Woot, Woot is happy to hear that Peng is doing this. But Peng said the reason he's doing this is because he wants the island to gain popularity, gain more traction for tourists, give it more profits, and save it from poverty. Even though all those reasons are good, I just feel like Peng is not doing this because he wants to. He's doing this because, Woot says it would be good for him. So Lava and Wave got home and they're calling for Peng, but Peng won't answer. Then they looked up and saw one of the guest room is on, so they assumed that's where Peng is. See, now I understand why Peng gave Wave and Lava the house at the water side. What's it called? The shore place, whatever. And he took the guest place, the what do you call it? The resort, because clearly he knows when no one's around, so he can ring Woot. But when Lava and Wave walked up to the stairs, they stopped because they saw Peng and Woot. Now, if it was Peng, they would have just walked out and talked to him, but Woot came after him. But then Wave shocked and almost gave away their location when they saw that Wood and Peng kissed. See, this shouldn't be a situation. I don't know why I didn't tell Peng. I mean, why Peng didn't tell Lava about this. Anyway, Lava and Wave ran and hide. They weren't fast. When Peng looked, because he's definitely going to look, he saw no one, but he called two persons that he knows should be home at this time. He called Wave and he called Love, and no one answered because I wouldn't answer. They would know that we saw them. Honestly, I think he should tell Lava because I mean Lava is from Bangkok. Kung Tae. He's definitely not ashamed considering there's a law there, so the law is broken there, so it shouldn't be something he should hide. It's not like he's gonna run and tell his sister about it. Come on. Just I don't know. Anyways, after Wave and Lava went to their room, Wave looked at Lava and is like, why do you think Pink decided that he doesn't want to tell us about his secret? Lava said he's not sure. He's from Bangkok, and even all those secrets are not secret because it's okay to be themselves in Bangkok. Not even sure why Peng decided to leave Bangkok. Must be something reasonable. I don't know. Then Wave said that maybe it's just something that he wants to keep for himself, and if he's ready, he could tell them. Anyways, the transformer burst and the light went out. The sound of the transformer that exploded scared Wave, and Wave ran to Lava. Lava said it's just a transformer and the light went out, but the thing is, it's hot. So now they have to open the windows, the doors, and Lava out here decided he wants to take off clothes and leave just one trousers. That's the one clothes he has on. Meanwhile, Wave is too demure, too sophisticated for those type of things. Lava then looked at Wave and noticed that he's covering in the sheets. Darn well, light's gone and it's hot. And he's like, why are you covering up in this heat? And then Wave is like, I'm not that hot. And then Lava is like, boy, it's gonna get hot. Get out of the sheets. And he's like, I'm good. I'm just not into the mood. And he's like, you're not into the mood, or you're turned on and you don't want to show that you're turned on. And he's like, I'm not hot. Then Lava is like, if you're not hot, why are you sweating? And then Wave is like, it's not sweat, it's minor sweats. And then Lava is like, you know what? Remember when I said that there are ways to know your preference? And he's like, yeah, how? Lava is like, I have my ways of knowing a person's preference, and I can just test it right now. And then Wave is like, how are you gonna test it? So Lava did test him. He kissed him, and it wasn't like a peck, it was a long ass kiss. Then after that kiss, Lava looked at Wave with Wave's shocked face, and Lava said, that is how I know. Basically what Lava is saying that I kissed you and you did nothing. You see, if a person didn't like you, he would have pushed you away, punched you in the face, because it's the same sex doing this. If a person did that, if you're a guy and a guy kissed you, he would have punched you in your face right then and there. You know, that the time that Wave kicked him in the yeah, that's what he would have done. But at this moment in time, Wave didn't do any of that. So yeah, it is confirmed that Wave like men. Well, we weren't expecting a kiss this soon for the main lead, but they did. Hey, at least Wave, you finally know your preference through Lava. You don't like women, you like men. You knew that from day one, but now you know after your amnesia. But I do want to see episode 4, what the El Victor did to your family, and I also want to see Gawain that too. But that is the end of my recap at the end of episode 3. See you in episode 4.